and welcome. Clearly, I am not John Morris. I am in for the voice of the Bears. My name's Brooke Bednars, and I am here for the Baylor's Coaches Show, live from Rudy's with the one and only head coach of Baylor football, Matt Rhule. Happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us and shaving some time in for what is a very busy and big week for you guys, coming off of a 29-23 triple overtime victory. Are you breathing yet after that one? That was a big one.
You know, no one told me, first of all, no one told me how much TCU people don't really like us. Okay.
He learned the rivalry.
Yeah, so I learned right like about 12 feet behind my head the things that were said. And I'm from Philadelphia, so where I'm from, you appreciate when people say terrible things to you during the game. So a couple times I kind of looked up, I was like, that's pretty good. Could you come back next week to help us against Oklahoma? But I'd say, what a great college football game. You know, my dad told me after the game, I've said this, but guys will come back in 20 years and talk about that game. You know, I heard about 61-58. I've heard about all these things. I wasn't here. That's got to go down as something. It went down something for me. I literally, this is a true story. I would only tell this to my friends here, but I get animated during the game, and the officials have a way of kind of setting me off at times. And so when I was an assistant coach, I would get mad just on one side of the ball, and then I could relax when the defense went out. As the head coach, you're on all the time. So I have a tendency to cramp up. So I get on the bus on the way home, and I'm in a full cramp.
Oh, no.
I mean, I'm like literally a board laying across, and there's people like trying to massage and give me Gatorade. But you know what? I'll remember that for the rest of my life. And my son was on the bus with me. He'll remember that for the rest of his life. What a great game. And I think it just showed, you know, we're not a finished product. We're in year 3. We're not in year 10. But I think everyone here sees that there's a bunch of tough guys on our team, a bunch of guys that like to compete. And how about John Mayers? Walked out there, made that kick.
I was about to say.
I mean,
let's give him some credit.
Oh, my goodness. Second time Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week. He has a girlfriend now. Didn't have a girlfriend beforehand. Now he has a girlfriend now. So things are looking up.
He went 2-0.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness. Well, speaking of going 2-0, you guys were on a 2-game win streak the last time you were here. And I don't know what you ate when you were at Rudy's, but we're going to need to go ahead and put that order in because since then, now you're 9-0, a heck of a season, the way to start. But you guys have had a lot of close games, but the one thing that you've continually talked about is it doesn't matter how you win and kind of getting that message across to the team.
Yeah, I think I'm a person that's obsessed with perfection. So I always find what's wrong. But I think you have to step back every once in a while and look at what you're doing right. And so I go back to the Texas Tech game, as you talked about. I go back to the bowl game. In those games, we found ways to win. We were down at halftime against Texas Tech. Vanderbilt was a shootout. And what I found out about our guys is they just love to compete. I mean, literally Charlie against Iowa State kind of shoved me out of the way. Said, just give me the ball. And went down there and won the game. We had the ball 2nd and 17 from the 1-yard line. The ESPN has this thing where it says, like, what chance you have of winning the game. And people sent me screenshots from the last game. Twice it said, like, 99% chance to lose. But that doesn't take into account the human element. So we're going to keep trying to get better. We're going to continue to recruit, continue to coach so that they don't have to be all this close. But I still think the spirit and the character is really something that if you can ever build that, and I'm not building it. People say, Coach, what are you building? I don't build culture. Our players build culture. Our players build a mindset, and so they found a way to do it. Now, that being said, when I come here, my family sends a whole order. So I'm thinking probably the sausage, the jalapeno sausage, Taylor. Jalapeno sausage.
Are you writing this down?
And the I like the chopped. Okay.
Okay. There. We're squared away. Got that squared away. Talking about players changing the culture, a lot of people really focused on the fact that the offense had a hard time getting in the end zone. But when you look back, those final 4 possessions, they made it happen with clutch catches.
Yeah, we have to play better on offense. I think all of our kids know that. All of our coaches know that. And sometimes we're pressing a little bit on offense. I think, we're doing some things that, we have a chance to make some plays early. But, being down 9-0 at half, going down the field 3 times and scoring in the second half, now not scoring touchdowns, but scoring field goals. Coming into the game, they were the #1 red zone offense in the conference, and I think top 2 or 3 in red zone defense. Coach Patterson knows how to coach defense. And but the thing I try to tell our offensive guys is all players was this. I don't care what happened during the game. You guys took the ball down the field and scored to send it to overtime, and then you scored 3 straight touchdowns when it mattered. And they weren't easy touchdowns. They weren't fair catch touchdowns. They were Denzel catching a slant with a guy draped all over him on 4th and 7. Charlie stood in there on that play and got hit in the head as he's throwing that ball. They were Denzel catching a fade. They were all these amazing plays made by a bunch of great guys.
Chris Platt.
Chris
Gary
Platt
Atkinson.
making an amazing catch on, So my message to them was carry that over now into this game. We're still a work in progress, but that swagger, that intensity, that mentality you guys had, carry that over into this game and go play fearless the way you guys played fearless in the overtime possessions.
You talked about Gary Patterson being a good defensive coach, but we got one of those ourselves.
We sure do.
And he just got recognized this week for the Broyles Award. What kind of impact has he had? You guys even switched defensive formations this year. The impact he's had.
Well, we're not where we are right now if it's not for Phil Snow. And his consistency week in and week out. And it's his whole defensive staff. Mike Saravo's been with us forever. Evan Cooper, Frank Ocam, Joey McGuire making the switch over to the other side of the ball this year. I think the commitment to playing great defense, the commitment to moving the defense over, and we're in the top 20 in the country in most defensive categories. We're 1 or 2 in every category, and that's with 2 overtime games. If we take the overtimes out, what we're doing right now is historic, and it's a credit to our players because it's the same players we had last year when we were 9 or 10th in every category, and they've grown. It's the Bravion Roys, the Lockharts, the Lynches, the Jordan Williamses, all those guys. Clay Johnson goes down. Everyone's, my heart was broken for Clay. It still is. But Terrell Bernard steps up. He's twice the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. So I'm just so happy to see what we're doing on defense. I'm so happy to see the way the guys are bought into it. And I keep telling our young players, because we're not playing any freshmen right now, I said, hey, what's it going to be in 3 years? What's it going to be in 4 years? And that's my message to everybody. This isn't like some wild ride. This is the first step, and things always go like this. Life is a sine wave, but if we believe in this process, then it'll carry us to success years and years and years upon years.
You heard it there. Well, we have just gotten started, and we will be back after this quick break for more Baylor's Coaches Show live from Rudy's. We'll be right back. All right, we are back and live at Rudy's for the Baylor Coaches Show. We just finished with talking a little bit about losing Clay Johnston and the impact that he had, but you guys have always focused on, everyone playing up at that same level. That's why you practice with the ones and the twos, and you might start low on the depth chart, but by the end of the season, you could be the impact guy. A couple of changes. Terrell Bernard obviously had that huge game, 19 tackles. That's the most for any player under you.
Wow.
At Baylor. Yeah, so props to him. But just talk a little bit about the way your defense has been performing and a few of those impact players starting up with the defensive line. You mentioned Bravion Roy a lot.
Yeah, I think it all starts up front. Bravion has been he's been dominant. And we weren't sure if he'd play. He didn't practice Tuesday or Wednesday. He practiced a little bit Thursday. But he loves to compete, and he's such a tough guy. He's such a competitor. He went out there and he played a great game. And what's been really nice for us is we have Lynch, who's had an epic year. We have Lockhart, who's had an epic year, and Bravion. But we have guys like Chidi Obanaya, T.J. Franklin from right down the road in Temple. He's a true freshman. He got hurt early in the year. He's out there playing. And our D-line has played so well that it's allowed everyone around them to flourish. Jordan Williams, a captain. There's no player I've ever seen in my career make more progress in 2 or 3 years as a person, as a student, as a football player, and as a leader. He went from almost, at times me and him saying, hey, maybe we should part ways, to the captain. He's the guy that I go to and say, hey, can you make sure this message gets out there? Or, hey, what do you think the message I should say is? And when I start asking players what I should say, that means a lot about who they are. So Blake Lynch changed a ton of positions. Chris Miller, if we could just keep Chris Miller in the game.
But he's back this week.
He's back. I hope he stays in the game. First time in my life we've ever done a drill this week where we practice running to tackle someone and the quarterback slides and they jump over them. But we actually practiced it, so
there you go.
Let's see if it sticks. But he's a competitor. Henry Black is someone that no one really talks about. All he does is just play really good football. He's played more snaps than any other player on our team this year. And he's been an impact player. Jamison Houston as a corner is a guy that's turned himself into probably a mid to high draft pick based upon the way he's played. And so that's always been our process is, young people think of themselves as freshmen and sophomores, hey, where am I? Our goal is for you to be at your best academically, athletically, and socially as a senior. And I'm proud of our seniors and older guys.
There you go. You mentioned a couple of the guys. Chris Miller is back. Graylin Arnold's someone else who has been kind of battling those injuries. He comes in 2 huge interceptions and the one to seal the deal.
Yeah, and to me, Grayland is one of the great competitors. And so the week before, playing West Virginia, he's supposed to not play. He's emergency only. Now, don't tell Grayland that. He's arguing. He's fighting. I'm 100%. But we said, you know what? He's emergency only. So West Virginia has the ball. We have that fumbled punt, which we stepped on the guy's foot and should have been our ball. I can only say that here amongst friends, but it should never have been their ball. But they had their ball. And it's 3rd and 2 at the 30-yard line. And I look out, and Grayland's out there playing. And he makes the play on the go ball down the sidelines. He is just a team guy. And to see him step up, make those 2 interceptions during the game, really proud of him and really excited about where he'll be again this time next year.
This week is obviously a huge game. You got the number 1 and number 2 in the Big 12 coming right here. This is something you wanted to be in contention for back when we spoke over the summer, and now you're here wanting to be in contention in November. That's exactly where you are. But coming to town is a very high-powered, high-scoring offense. How's your defense going to stack up?
Well, you don't stop these guys. I mean, they're so good. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he was 26-2 as the quarterback at Alabama, so he knows what to do. And, he goes to Lincoln Riley, who's a tremendous coach, tremendous quarterback coach and offensive guru. CeeDee Lamb, who's one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the country.
Right now leading 13 touchdowns.
He's amazing. And he's one of those guys where you throw him the ball, it doesn't have to be a big play. He just makes small plays into big plays. And so I think the biggest thing is, are we going to tackle? And I think we will. I say that in a positive way. I think to beat these guys, you have to tackle. You have to get pressure on the quarterback. But most importantly, you have to play like you feel like you belong there. I think a lot of people play, these kind of games, and they go in and they say, well, let's just figure out if we can hang in with these guys. We played them 2 years ago, 2017. We weren't very good, and we were down 21-0. We were down 28-7, and we came back and took the lead. Last year we were down, 14-6, 7-0, 14-6, 28-9, 28-6, and then 28-9, and then came back and made it a game, and then eventually it got away from us. we have to go out there. We have to take the field as if we know. You know what? We're Baylor. We're one of the top teams in the country. We're a tremendous collection of talent. We're a great team. We have each other's back. We play hard. We play physical, and we can't wait to figure out if we're good enough. We have to go in there knowing, not believing, but knowing that we're good enough. And so that comes from me. That comes from our coaches, but that comes from our players. And I think, based upon what I've seen this week, they look like they're confident. They're going to go out there and try to play their best game.
How has practice gone in that walkthrough? What's the mindset of the team as you guys go into this game? Are they feeling the weight of this game, or are you always say 1-0?
I think that they're loose. You know, I'm kind of an old school guy. Like, I like when the players are like locked jawed and fired up, and they're just kind of loose and flying around and having fun. And you know, we played 9 games. We're in week 10, which is week 12 of the season. We've been together for a long time, and I think they know what's expected of them. I think they know, how they have to practice and how they have to prepare and how they have to play, and they've practiced great so far. So I think that they're going to go out there. They're going to play their best game. You know, we'll have to respond to adversity. We'll have to try to be, great in the middle part of the game and then find a way to win it at the end. But I feel very good that, I can't control how good Oklahoma is. I can't control Jalen Hurts. But I think our guys are going to go out there and play. We have a pretty good quarterback, too. We have pretty good wideouts, too. We have pretty good linebackers. So we're going to let our guys go play and see what happens.
We have a full house here tonight at Rudy's, and we have some people who have brought in a couple of questions. First Place Foods, that's a darn good pickle. You might want to get some of those.
They're fantastic.
Yes. But our first one is from Nani Oroso. With the process working, your players buying in, and your coaching staff staying stable, what improvements and changes are you looking for as you go into this week?
This week?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's some things we have to do better. We've struggled to protect the quarterback, and we've had some injuries on the O-line. We've had some movement on the O-line. But they played really well at Oklahoma State. We had a terrible game against West Virginia, and we played better against TCU. And so I'm hopeful to see us take another step on the offensive line and really protect Charlie, because when Charlie has a little bit of time, he's really a special player. In the last 2 games, we've given up a turnover on special teams. So we've been one of the best special teams in the country. And we've still done great things in those games, but 2 weeks ago, that punt that I talked about, this, as you can tell, still bothers me. Mm-hmm. And then last week, the fumble on the kickoff return. So I think just stabilizing our special teams. They need to be a weapon for us, but we also can't do anything to hurt ourselves. And then defensively, I think it always comes down to tackling. Always comes down to our ability to run. So we're going to try to do what we do, but every week just do it a little bit better. And that to me is the job of the coaching staff, to try to make sure we're doing what we do, but do it better.
But with those special teams, how neat is it? At the beginning of the season, you had talked about inexperienced is the word to describe our special teams when it was our punter, our kicker, you name it. And now, John Mayers goes from missing the first field goal to hitting it when it really matters. So for you as a head coach, when you are juiced up like you are on the sideline, to know that it's not still – you can trust him despite being young.
I have ultimate trust in John. And, he went out and punted for us in this game. We used him a couple times on punt. I just think he's a gamer. And that's what happens. You watch guys, like, by the time you get to Game 5 or Game 6 in college football, you're not a freshman anymore. And so we expect you to go play to your capabilities. And I think we've seen him do that. Isaac Power has been good at times. We have a new holder in Skylar Wetzel. He's done a great job. And then Noah Rauschenberg, he finally came back last week and kicked off for us. And that really helped us put some balls in the end zone. So I like where our team is. And my goal as a coach is always to trust my players and put them in a position to be successful. But then let them go play. Sometimes we always want to do things for our kids. We want to do things for our players. I have to let them go play. And I thought that those guys, the fact that he went out and made that kick, that was something that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
They're obviously putting points on the board for you, but this kind of leads into our next question from David Wright. David, you somewhere out there? Maybe we can find you. Raise your hand. Yep, there you go in the back. David writes, what can we do to increase our chances to score on our opening drive, to where maybe that's coming from Charlie to Denzel or somebody like that, instead of having to rely on that field goal?
I take that as I think that's really me. I think that you go back over me as a head coach over the years, maybe be a more defensive guy or more of a kind of body blows guy. We have never really scored a ton early, but we've tried to figure out how to do that. And so we got in at halftime last game, and it was 9-0, and we said, you know what, let's go out there and be really aggressive on the first drive. So the first play we called was a shot down the field. Now, it wasn't open, and the quarterback checked it down, and we got 10 yards. We went down and we scored a field goal. And I think that what we've realized with our guys is they need to feel that aggressiveness from the offensive staff, from the coaches, from the head coach. We just have to go out there and and let it rip. I mean, I think that's our mindset this whole week from our guys is, like, you worked hard, you battled, you fought, you competed, you practiced, you won all these tight games to get yourselves in this position. Now let's just go play. And our offense goes from being just kind of okay to being almost elite when the pressure's on. And most people do it the other way. But our guys, when they need to go score, they go score. And so I think just kind of having that mindset of, hey, we need to go score right now, and letting them go down the field and see what happens. So I think we're going to cut it loose a little bit more, and hopefully that happens. And if that works, then thank you for asking the question, because I hope it works this week. Because I know we're going to be great at the end of the game, but we have to figure out a way to be a little bit better at the beginning of the game. And if we can do that, we'll take a step as a team.
Perfect. Well, we have a little bit more to talk about. We have some very special guests who have rolled into town. We're going to talk about that and more up next on our Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's, brought to you by Jim Turner Chevrolet of McGregor, the official Chevy dealer of Baylor Athletics, your Central Texas Chevy truck headquarters. Check out their November fall savings at Jim Turner Chevrolet. You can stop in today or visit online at turnerchevy.com for the best deal.
I have a Turner Chevy.
On your Chevrolet? Well, perfect. There you
drove
go.
it here.
We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Brooke Bednar's in for John Morris, alongside head coach Matt Rhule for the Baylor Bears, live at Rudy's, Real Texas Barbecue. But we also have to talk about the real exciting news, that is College Game Day coming to our city.
That's right.
What does it mean for you guys to have, you always focus on, not letting the distractions get to your team and everything, but this is more of an honor. As you said earlier, they don't come unless you guys earn it. So
yeah.
To have that play recognized.
Sometimes you can be the game of the week, but you're the game of the week because of who you're playing, right? Like, this is, when they come here, it means that, hey, there's two great teams matched up. And so for me, I want to embrace it. When I was the head coach at Temple, we had College Game Day come for the first time ever, and I learned there, like, let's embrace it. Let's not try to hide from it. Let's enjoy it. and that's the players don't really do anything with it, but just I think as a community, as a Baylor football family, as all of us, we've got to embrace this and enjoy this. And I look at it, for our university, for all of our sports, it's an elite recruiting opportunity. When we were at Temple, like the admissions shot through the roof that year as people all across the country. And I want people all across the country now to look at Baylor, to see us on the banks of the Brazos. I want them to see us downtown Waco. I want them to see the university, the stadium. I want them to see the law school in the background and say, you know what, why don't I let my kids go there? I want prospective students to say, why don't I go to school there? I can get this amazing education from a Christian-led university in the middle of Central Texas that's elite athletics, that's got great theater, that's got great activities. My wife and I this year went to New York and listened to the orchestra play in New York. And I'm sitting there listening to these kids play that go to school here and just blown. I'm like, we can't sometimes snap the ball on the snap count, and these guys are up there playing the violin in front of everybody. Like, it's just this place, Baylor University is a place of excellence. So I want the entire country for 3 hours to see this infomercial about, hey, this is what Baylor is, and this is what Waco is, because this is a great place to live. And I want everyone to know that, you know what, come to Baylor, come to Waco, see what's special around here.
And we already got a packed house here tonight, so it's on the way. It's a sold-out crowd. McLean close to being the largest crowd at McLean in its history. You have played in a lot of crazy atmospheres, but to have that here and to have Baylor fans come out to provide that against a top-notch team like Oklahoma, thoughts?
I'm fired up. I mean, I thought the crowd at Texas Tech and West Virginia were awesome. I thought the students at the end, we've won the game. We go to the 50 and we say a prayer because we want to give thanks first. But then our players have been running over the student section and then going to the band. And then because, you stay that long, you stay there for us to the very end. We appreciate it. And I want this to be a hard place to play. I want us to be as kind to the visitors. I want us to help them get to their seats. I want us to ask them if they want something to drink. But then when the game starts, I don't want their team to be able to hear anything.
Yeah, be loud.
That's what we had to deal with last week. And so to have that many people there, and I think we're on pace. I think we're going to have a sellout against Texas next week. So to have back-to-back, not just sellouts I'm talking about where everyone's there, where the berm is filled, where the grass is filled, where people are that's awesome. And seeing all the former players text me saying they're coming back. Guys that didn't even play for me. Guys that played for Coach Browse. Guys that played for Coach Grove. Guys that played for all the way back to Coach Taff. I want all those guys to come back, and I want this to be a great time for all of Baylor.
And real quick here, you also mentioned it's a big night for recruiting. Prime time, ABC, ESPN College Game Day. It's going to be a packed house in that regard, too.
Yeah, we'll have a ton of great prospects here. And I want them to see what we know, that this is a great game day atmosphere. I want them to see the Baylor line come running out. I want them to see all that. But then there's recruits all across the country. Some of them are in like the 7th and 8th grade that'll see this game on TV and say, you know what, maybe I want to go there someday. Come to our camps, start to grow. And so I think recruiting is about the experience of the guys on Saturday, but it's also about the brand that we're trying to build.
And it is being built by this team. Thank you so much for coming out. I know we are all looking forward to that big game on Saturday. We'll see you at College Game Day, but thank you so much for stopping by, and good luck.
What a great job she did, too, huh? How about Brooke? Give it up for Brooke.
Thank you. We'll be right back with more Baylor's Coaches Show live from Rudy's. Welcome back to the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. We have our Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics sports tip for you tonight. When it comes to orthopedics, Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics brings the home team advantage to Central Texans and is bringing you today's sports tip. Recovery is the key to give you the strength and energy needed to continue to play at a high level. Keep up with proper nutrition, hydration, and make sure you're getting enough rest to allow your body time to recover. This message has been brought to you by Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. From injury prevention to enhanced recovery, team up with us. I am now joined by Baylor volleyball head coach Ryan McGuire. Let's give it up to him. This is your first time on the Baylor Coaches Show this year. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have had quite the season. Unprecedented season so far. Absolute standout games. You were the #1 team in the country for a good chunk of time, now sitting at #3. You guys had a big game last night against Kansas and were able to get that sweep for the first time since 2007.
Yeah, Kansas is a great program. They've been to the Final Four, and we've been able to knock them off each of the year, but to win both matches at home and there, both in sweeps, been really good for us this year.
Talk a little bit about what it means for you guys to have those 3 players with double-digit kills for the second consecutive match. What kind of impact does that have?
I think every match we go into, it is a team game, but if you can have 3 offensive weapons, it's going to keep the opponents unbalanced the whole time. And so, Yassi's been kind of that #1 person for us all the time, but Shelly's sometimes been #1, but she was right up there. And then, lately we've been getting some great play from both Gia and Marika, and and then there's nights when we're going to get it from Kara. So it's we started off kind of heavy with Yassi doing great, and now everyone else has been picking it up as well.
And we just finished up with head coach Matt Rhule, and we talked a little bit about their quarterback, Charlie Burr, but we got to talk about the essential quarterback for you guys, Hannah Locken, and just the impact that she has, whether she's setting or she's even attacking and digging those balls as well.
Hannah's been playing like an All-American this year, and the quarterback is a great analogy for it because she's got to make the right decisions at the right time and get the ball to the right hitters when they're open. But she's brought so much more. She's serving great this year. She's top 10 in conference in digs, blocking really well, and then offensively she's also a threat.
Someone that has been a threat from the get-go is Kara McGee. She's a top recruit that you guys brought in as a freshman, already making a huge impact. How exciting is it that you still have her for the rest of this season and then 3 years to come?
Her and Marika, when they're blocking next to each other, it's a pretty big wall. And Kara is leading the conference in blocks per set. Just a beautiful young woman that's still adapting to the game and the speed of the game, but she's the one where when she does something well, you got 19 other people like so super excited just because she loves everybody in such a unique way that when she does something well like that love gets contagious and multiplies.
How have you seen her grow from the time it hasn't been that long, but you guys have been playing in some very big matches. How have you seen her already kind of grow and develop, even though she's just a freshman?
I think she doesn't even realize they're big matches. We opened up the season at Nebraska versus UCLA, and we sweep them. We win in 3. It's a big match. UCLA is a great volleyball program, and it's like, hey, Karen, we just beat UCLA in 3 in your very first match as a college athlete. How was that? She's like, well, cool. I think the gravity and the significance of it it doesn't steal her. She is so down to earth, and her values and her principles, like her identity is not in being the best volleyball player out there, but it's in being the best teammate, best friend, best sister, best daughter to her parents.
You guys you know how to get down and dirty and to fight and show that grit. The second set against Kansas kind of proved that last night. When a game kind of gets in that situation, who is that voice that maybe things are getting a little out of control, but the one that is right there that they're looking to as kind of a calming, like, let's get us back on track?
Well, Shelly Fanning is the voice.
Stafford.
Yep. So, yep. Shelly Stafford. Yeah, there you go. Up, strike one on that. Shelly Stafford is that voice first, that tries to keep us from stubbing our toe and getting into that moment. And then she's the action, I think, in helping us correct it and get after it and make those plays go. So her and then Brea has done a tremendous job being a team captain as well, in just that balance of, hey, we can be better, but also like, hey, let's continue to be mature and really just got to focus on the next point.
Focusing on the next point, focusing on the next game. You guys have a bye weekend, which is nice. Gonna get a whole week preparation for a big opponent also coming to town next Wednesday. We will be right back with the Baylor Coaches Show with head volleyball coach Ryan McGuire when we get back from this quick break, and we'll talk all about Texas. Welcome back to Rudy's Texas Barbecue, where I am here for the Baylor Coaches Show with head volleyball coach Ryan McGuire. We just talked about the Bears' successful win over Kansas last night, but now we're going to look ahead to the game that is next week, the game that everyone needs to be at because it's going to be a top-notch game, and that's against Texas. So what are your thoughts? It's going to be the number 1 against the number 3, top 2 in the Big 12. Just the impact of that game and getting a second chance right here on your home floor.
Well, I think we could have Coach Rhule just come back and just say everything he said about Oklahoma.
We have a lot of big games this week.
It's going to be the same exact thing. Yeah, what a great opportunity. I think we're gonna shatter some attendance records. It's an opportunity for Baylor, for us to win the Big 12 for the first time as an institution. Our girls are excited about it. We've put that work in, and like Coach Rhule said, we got to embrace the situation and look forward to the opportunity and glad we get to be at home for this.
Taking advantage of not having a game this week, how much does that help in preparation for Texas and getting to allot that extra time?
It'd be a lot easier if it wasn't college game day this weekend with football going. No, we're excited about that because this is the first football game we really get to go to.
What a game!
Because we're not on the road, traveling. I know we've we won some other matches quick so we could get back in time to go and football helped us. They went some overtime games so we could see a little bit more of the game. But no, it's great. It gives us a chance to prepare. We have a lot of recruits coming in this weekend, so they get to watch us train, watch us practice, and then just have a fun time and seeing what Baylor's all about.
something you've always made sure to point out is the fact that it is important to give respect to Texas and the program that they have. They've kind of had that solid foundation of what good volleyball truly looks like. But you guys are right there, and you have set this foundation for Baylor volleyball and being at that same level with the past couple of teams, and then this year, just this really special group of girls.
We have a great group of girls. You know, I think Texas as a state is great when it comes to volleyball, and University of Texas, Jared's done a good job for a long, long time, and they've kind of dominated the Big 12. But we have some special women here at Baylor that just understand how to play together, and allow us to play at a really, really high level. So we're able to do some things that I think are unique and tough for opponents to stop. And you know, Texas is really, really physical, so we got to be playing at a super high level to be successful.
For all the fans who are going to be there on Wednesday, tell me a little bit about and talk about just the impact of being able, as a fan right here in Waco, to be able to go to a game and how special it will be to see just the overall talent on one court at one time. I mean, the possible player of the year right there, first team All-Americans. That's something special to be able to watch.
You're going to see first-team All-Americans on both sides of the net going after each other. It is the premier volleyball match of the day. You know, number 1 versus number 3 getting after it. And really, you know, Lord willing, you're looking at some future Olympians, you know, that maybe are going to be playing together someday, helping USA try and win some gold medals. It is what our girls wanted in the college experience, but it's the highest level, top level volleyball match going head to head in a Farrell Center that's going to be full of people, you know, screaming and sicking.
Sickering? I like that. Just you, speaking of that, a crowd, a massive crowd. We're talking about how important it is for this football game, but it is just as important for this volleyball game. Hopefully we can pull back the curtains and make it even feel like a basketball game. That'd be something pretty special, because you guys have played in a lot of very crazy home atmospheres when you guys are on the road. So to be able to kind of return the favor, so to say, what would that mean?
Yeah, it's our girls have traveled very, very well, and I love the atmosphere that they can handle. You know, being at Wisconsin, it was a pretty rowdy atmosphere. You know, being at Texas was really rowdy there, but our girls at home, when the crowd is loud, not only keeps us strong, but really I think is detrimental to the opponents when they're trying to serve, and the nerves, and they're trying to listen to coaches, and when things aren't quite going well. When we have a loud crowd out there, we feel like we're able to make these big runs. You know, at Kansas, we're able to come back and do some of these things early when we're beating Hawaii and Missouri. Really helps us finish off those matches.
Did you see this group of girls? You had a lot of faith in this team when you put together their preseason schedule and everything, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. But just to be in this position, knowing that if you win out and if you beat Texas on Wednesday, that you're going to have share of the Big 12 title for the first time in Baylor program history. How special would that be to have that be done with this group of girls?
You know, it's already a very special group of girls, and you know, I tear up when I just think about all of them, but especially the seniors, because they came in when things weren't exactly perfect, and they bought in and they believed, and we got some seniors that are playing a little bit less this year, but man, how great they were in practice just today. Just you know, there's a big part of me that just wants them to have that ring, to have that Big 12 championship. The relationships they have are going to last the rest of their lives for sure. But I think to be able to have a Big 12 title connected to that kind of helps solidify those relationships and adds to the memories that we're making.
Well, a Big 12 title is on the line for this game against Texas, along with some other things, because it's a big game for some NCAA rankings. We'll be right back with head coach Ryan McGuire when we come back after this quick break for the Baylor Coaches Show live at Rudy's. Welcome back to the Baylor Coaches Show live at Rudy's. We have a great crowd here tonight, and I am joined by head coach Ryan McGuire of Baylor Volleyball. We had just talked about how big this game is against Texas on Wednesday. It's a whiteout, so the first 1,000 fans will get a white T-shirt. So all of you here listening, tuning in, watching, you name it, we want to see you out there. Be the first 1,000, you get a white T-shirt. So you don't even have to worry about matching the crowd. But we want to talk about also how there are national implications, not just a share of a Big 12 title, but also looking forward into postseason and just kind of how much a win like this against Texas would mean, and the goal being a top 4 seed.
Yeah, we're number 1 in the RPI right now. We had a very difficult, challenging schedule, non-conference. We're taking care of business so far in conference. So, you want to do everything you can to help your team go as deep in the tournament and make it to that Final Four. So to have the seeding helps, to have home court advantage helps. So obviously if we're able to, to beat a really good Texas team, we should be number 1, and it'd be hard to overcome that. If we stub our toe, we'll see where we're at with that, but it still should put us up there 1 or 2 when it's all said and done. And it's kind of important for us this year because Coach Samantha Erger has done a great job with our offense. She's getting ready to give birth any day now. So
any day now. Due date December 5th.
December 5th, and so we got to do that for her because she's not going to get on a plane and fly 7 hours if we're not hosting.
Exactly. And baby girl Demi, she gave me permission to announce her name and everything, but she's a future little Baylor volleyball player, I'm sure of it.
Oh, she has no choice. like Sam,
it's in her blood.
Sam will make her. They'll probably tape her right hand and start work on dumping with that left hand as a setter. But no, her James Malachi, what a beautiful, beautiful family. Great example to our ladies on just how to be an amazing professional. She is working so hard right now. Like I said, we got she's a recruiting coordinator. We got so many people coming to visit this weekend, and that second set got close at Kansas the other night. I wasn't sure Demi was going to wait until December, so it's we gotta win a little bit easier in some of these sets to help her as well.
I love that. That kind of leads into our first place foods. That's a darn good pickle Baylor Coaches Show question. We have a question from Roy Evans somewhere out there. There we go, right there. Roy, thanks for this question. Have we had any 2020 signees yet? We haven't seen any reports.
We have. It's just official today. So
there you go, Roy.
I'll get on Cody, and that'll be popping out. We got a rock star 6'5",
6'5",
athletic, 6 rotation, passing and smashing, outside hitter, and Cassie Davis. They, all our kids are playing in their state finals right now. We got some, future ones that are on the road as well, but officially that we can say, yeah, Cassie out of Colorado, great family, plays high above the net, plays defense too, so she's helping us get longer and stronger.
Do you think that she could easily come in and be kind of that same freshman impact that we're seeing out of Kara right now?
Oh, no doubt about it, and what's good about her, she's coming in January, so like Kara, we're going to get this whole spring of training, and it's not like, hey, here's 2 weeks and go play Nebraska type deal, but it's let's get the training, let's get the weight room, let's understand the speed of the game, and not excited about her athleticism, but again, she's just another one of these kids that high value, high character, high integrity, one that just has a great motor, great engine that I'm excited about.
Speaking of Nebraska, that's a big team, and I even wrote down, because I wanted to make sure I remembered all of this, but when you looked at your preseason schedule, I'm sure people were kind of like, oh, wow, what are we doing with Creighton, Wisconsin, Marquette, Hawaii, Missouri, you name it. That's a lot of top 25 ranked teams. Did you just have the faith in this team? Kind of where did that stem from? And to have that proven beneficial, do you believe that your resume kind of speaks for itself going forward, earning that top 4 seed?
It does, and there's a lot of really good teams out there, a lot of really good teams. It's kind of we're a contender or pretender type deal, and we approached it like, look, this is the schedule that's going to give us a top 4 seed if we can win out and do it. Very, very difficult, but let's start with the first match, at UCLA, and see what we can do in that. And we believed that. We were able to get the sweep in that. And I think it just kind of built off each other as we go through it. You know, if we get blown up or losing these games, like we're like, hey, this is the level we got to be at to be a good team to go deeper in the tournament than what we've been before. We're going to learn from that and use that. So I thought non-conference, our girls did a great job of both getting the wins, but also finding ways to learn and still grow through some of those wins to help get better and better.
And something through all those big wins and these big games that are coming up at home, something you've always kind of repetitively said when talking about your team and kind of the goals is, yes, you want to perform well, but you also really want to cherish the moment. Can you kind of go into a little bit of detail on what that truly means, especially because right after Texas, we have Senior Day?
Yeah. Well, you know, you look at Shelly Stafford, who I first knew as Shelly Fanning, and so like her first day on campus was my first day on campus. And, you know, my first meeting with the team who didn't know me, hadn't met, I barely knew them. I'm trying to watch film and catch up on it. And we just talked about, you know, hey, what are the top 10 fears in life? You know, and up there, number one is this fear of the unknown. Like, okay, who is this guy that Baylor hired to coach us? What's going on? Like, I've committed here, now things have kind of changed, and how do we handle those things? And so, you know, for like a Shelley to just see the transformation, you know, we're talking about Kansas, you know, first time we swept, you know, since 2007. We're talking over a decade here, and just for her to remember when, you know, when they kicked our butt the first year, at their place, and then here we are, you know, down the road, able to get these sweeps against really good teams and really good programs, to just understand the work that put into it. You know, Baylor, we want to prepare these champions for life, and so, you know, we've always talked that suffering produces perseverance, character, hope, and so, like football is a great example as well. They continue to persevere with this great character, and now there's this hope, and it's not like a wishy-washy hope, but it's this foregone conclusion that we know that what God has for us, if we follow Him, are going to glorify Him and be in our best interest for that. And so, these seniors have really bought into that. I just want it for them. Again, I want them to really, really fall in love with what they're learning, and what a splendid, you know, I'm working with future lawyers, future doctors, future moms that are just going to raise some great families.
Well, you heard it there. Senior Day for those great ladies is November 30th at home against TCU. But before then, we got a big match against Texas at home next Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the Farrell Center. It's a whiteout, but until then, thank you so much for coming by. We really appreciate it. We're going to get you to sign the wall. And we'll be right back with a look at our upcoming schedule for all of Baylor athletics. But for now, live at Rudy's for the Baylor Coaches Show. Welcome back to the Baylor. Welcome back to the Baylor Coaches Show live at Rudy's. I'm Brooke Bednarz in for John Morris, the voice of the Baylor Bears. We've had a great night with head football coach Matt Rhule and head volleyball coach Ryan McGuire. But now it's time we take a look at our upcoming schedule real quick for all of Baylor athletics. Tomorrow night we have number 24 men's basketball hosting Texas State. That's 8 p.m. at the Farrell Center. And then Saturday, it's the big one. College game day has come to town for number 13 Baylor football hosting number 10 OU. That kickoff is at 6:30 at McLean Stadium, but be sure to get there early for college game day in the morning. On Tuesday, we have the number 2 Lady Bears hosting number 25 South Florida in a top 25 matchup. That's 7 p.m. tip-off at the Farrell Center. Wednesday, we have that huge game we just talked about with number 3 volleyball hosting number 1 Texas with big implications for the Big 12. And then our men's basketball team hits the road for a Myrtle Beach Invitational where they take on Ohio. Thank you so much for watching. I've had a great time, and hopefully we enjoy the rest of this weekend. Thanks for watching.